16th. That's all I know for sure.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, Wednesday, October 22nd, school board meeting is in session. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Curry, anybody know of any additions or corrections to the
I
agenda?
do not have any.
Good. Motion to approve the agenda then? Right? Yep, motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a
Sorry,
motion.
I'm learning.
No, you-
Michelle's got it. Do we have a second for the confirmation of the agenda?
I'll second.
Eric's got the second. All approve? Aye, right? Voice vote.
Aye.
Do we
Aye.
approve?
Aye.
Any against? Motion approved. So item number 3 is the consent agenda. You had in your packets the regular meeting from last month, the budget hearing meeting that was held prior to it, those minutes were in there.
That's it.
Okay, and then the bills and the financial reports. Any comments or questions on the consent agenda items?
I have a question before we approve the bills. So as we move forward with what we have budgeted, how do you foresee this happening when we start going over budgets? Is there gonna be denial of requisitions to you, or how will that happen?
Well, it depends upon, in certain areas, yes. In some areas where we have to do some stuff, then I think I have to approve them, because I know even, I'll take transportation, buses, whatever, are, one area is already at 7%, and we haven't had any major fixes on buses, but if we have to send a bus to Interstate, or if we have to send a bus to Fargo, that adds up pretty quick. That's a $4,000 or $5,000 bill, because we haven't bought a bus for, 3-4 years for that, and the bus we did buy is our activity bus. Our other buses, are getting some miles on them for that, and we can change tires, and we can change oil, and we can do some of that stuff. But some of these other repairs, we can't do, so like that one is already getting up there, so at some point, I'm gonna come to you and say, just like I am now, we're not that far in, hopefully the rest of the year goes well, but a couple more bigger repairs and we're gonna be in trouble on that line item budget. When we get into, if we're talking like supplies, teacher supplies or whatever, get to that point, it's like, no, money's spent. No, you're not gonna be able to buy this. You're not gonna go to Be Heard, go to the foundation, try somebody else, or whatever it is for that, because we're tapped out in that area, for that. So I guess to answer your question, Eric, it depends a little bit on where the area is and what we're doing in that area.
And what happens if there's no requisition forms filled out?
For those areas,
Yeah, just for purchases.
I think they've gotten better. Lindsay, have they gotten better a little bit?
Dan filled one out the other day.
So,
Bud's been throwing his in a grocery bag as a joke from a video he saw.
for that, but that's what we're trying to, stress, and in my conversation with those guys is, and all of them, we need requisitions, from that stuff. You get them to me, so we can get them to Lindsay, so we can get them paid. Most of them are there, or make the call for it. Some of them, on a bus repair, do we know right away what it's gonna cost? Unfortunately, we don't know right away what it's gonna cost for that to replace a seal or this or that. So some of them are kind of like, you have a general idea that, this is gonna cost a couple grand. Because if it was gonna cost 15, obviously, we wouldn't do it for that. But can you say before it's done, this is gonna cost $2,421? We don't know for sure on that. So sometimes we can approve those before they're done, Eric, in some situations. You know, a lot of the other ones, yes, we can.
I had a question on that same actual expense account, it's 610 under operation and maintenance, because it is the biggest percentage used already. Can we have Bud put together what he expects for general maintenance expenses are coming yet? Because maybe this is an upfront thing we don't have to worry about, but if we know he's got 15,000 more tires and stuff that he needs to do in the next 6 months, we're gonna need
Yeah,
to figure this out.
I
mean,
think, you say Bud, I think that's something I would go to Dan for.
Or Dan,
Since he
whichever.
deals with those
Yep.
on a daily basis and knows,
Can we
you
ask
know,
him that?
where we're at. Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. Do you see any foreseeable expenses coming? I mean, are there
So that we're not
buses that?
completely surprised and have to
Right,
ask this
yeah.
question each month,
Yeah, yeah,
okay? Is that?
for that. I mean,
clear?
obviously, you're going to Atkinson and a tire blows, whatever.
That
You gotta hold it.
stuff's
That's-
unforeseen, but it's
yeah.
just like a
Right.
farm, you know,
But
yeah.
if you,
your
if
maintenance.
we
Yeah,
know
if
that
you
right now,
know you're
sure.
gonna replace tires on bus 6 in 2 months, yes, you know that expense is coming.
Right, because
for
that's
that,
the one problem we
yeah.
didn't have in the budget process, for the budget committee.
Right.
We didn't get input from the department there on what they foresaw coming, so we did we budgeted on an average cost of the 3 years.
Right, unfortunately, I mean, some of those things you can budget for, unfortunately, some of those
crazy stuff you
unforeseen
can't,
ones,
yes,
right.
but the
Yeah,
for
but, no, I
foreseen
can
stuff.
definitely ask him
Please.
and
Because the
see
other one
what he's
is,
got coming up.
the other one is under elementary, there's like a dues and memberships that, between the SEEK and the teachers, substitute teacher stuff, budget's gone
Yeah.
already, so, just, I had the same question, Eric, what are we gonna do? So, I'm glad you brought it up. Anything else on bills, financial reports, consent agenda stuff?
So if there's a budget that's over on something that's already been invoiced,
I'll make a comment. I don't know if you're asking a specific question or not, but I'm gonna comment because Jennifer brought it to me before the meeting. Under the 2310 board stuff, I don't know what I did. I must have coded the insurance wrong in one category. I fixed it earlier, so the next time you see the report, it'll be right. I have no idea what I did.
That was, I have it here,
It was like.
210 and
210 was
520 under-
negative, and it should have been under 520.
yeah.
So I fixed that one already.
There's some minor ones, like I think Fax had a $29 over or something like that. But, yeah,
Yeah,
why we have a chance to talk about it.
right. And I think, you know, putting the facts on, I think when we budgeted, if that was for that subscription or if
Yeah,
that was that
something,
whatever,
yeah.
I think we knew we might have been a couple
I
dollars
think it's
short when
actually
we did
for her
it.
travel,
Okay,
I believe.
but we're basically using where we're at as a baseline to project out so far that we need to know our baseline's close to reality.
Right,
If
yeah.
it's way off, we're gonna be so far off at the end of 8 years that we've gotta have a good
Mhm.
handle on where we're at.
Anybody need anything further? Further questions, further action? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Lindsay?
Jennifer,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Cody.
yes.
Okay, we're on to item A under communications, public comments. Anybody know of anything? Just a side note, we're gonna get everybody the public comments so that if something comes up, we know what we're doing, because right now I don't think we represent anything, so. Administrative reports, Mr. Kerr, you are on first.
okay, I'll go first. I think Lindsay sent me out Monday or Tuesday. Lindsay, Bud and I have met with, fill out an application because Barnes County has been declared a disaster area from those June storms. So we had a meeting, basically to set up a meeting the other day, with a guy from the state, so we'll be working with FEMA people. Next week, we have another meeting, and there'll be a couple FEMA people. We're gonna try and recruit some salaries for time people spent dealing with storm issues, whether it was talking to insurance people, moving the tree off the house in Wimbledon, Bud and Dan and I up on the roof trying to pull the bladder over, time. So just any time that we have tracked that we think has been from the storm, we're gonna try to recoup that, maybe, and with that, if you used any of the like school vehicles, whether it's skid steer, or you had to use a pickup to pull the skid steer to do that, or haul the Suburban down to Enderlin to get the windows fixed. We're gonna try log all that time and mileage and that, so we're gonna try to recoup some of that, and then hopefully also some of our,
Deductibles?
yes, with that, deductibles also. So we're gonna, hopefully when we meet with them next week, they're gonna tell us what we can and can't do, and we're gonna try to max it out for what we can
Nice.
for that. So, working on that, OCR, I know you love to hear about OCR as much as I do, but everything's done with that from last year, signed off on, so we are good on all of our
Was that the,
OCR compliant bathrooms,
Okay,
yes, was
got
the
it.
last thing we had to get done. We met with strategic planning today, and I think we actually did finish our plan for the next 5 years, so that'll come back to the committee, strategic planning for review, once it's cleaned up, and then it will hopefully come to the board in November for approval for that. Had Infinite Campus meeting today with that team of about 7, 8 people. And if you have any questions, just contact Mrs. Bips about that. So that she'll be more than happy to talk to you about that. Gym 4, lines are done, so we're waiting for him to put top coat on, and then a week, 10 days, and we'll be ready to use it for that. So we're actually on schedule, maybe a little bit ahead of schedule, which is nice for that. And then, yeah, Jennifer wanted me to talk about this maybe a little bit in extent, this food procurement trading, but after my conversation with her about how unhelpful it was not to bash on anybody. It was a waste of 6 hours or 8 hours, to be honest. With you, and I think Lindsay would agree with that, and Joey also. It was nothing of what we thought we were gonna get out of it for that, so it really helped us zero. We're still gonna do it, we're still gonna try do some bids and whatever else for our food service, but this did nothing for us. Thank God it was cheap to go, besides the mileage of the time.
They gave us a really nice binder, like that probably cost them 30 to 40 bucks a person to put together, that they never even opened.
Yeah.
But all the information in it looks like it would have been very pertinent.
Oh,
And they talked about everything but that, unfortunately, so.
I'm sorry, I opened the can of worms.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, that's what I got.
How do we come out on the gym floor with insurance? Are they gonna cover all of that then?
That's what we're trying to go through FEMA to collect, because of course, when they got in there, it was still wet, it was still reading higher than it was supposed to put it down, so they gave us 2 choices. Either buy a different poly to put underneath, that costs about $2,500 more, or keep your dehumidifiers in there until it registers below this number, which could have taken weeks for that. We were kind of kicked into FEMA on this and knew we might be able to recoup some funds through FEMA, so Bud talked to me, I'm like, just get it done, we need the floor for that. We'll worry about the 2,500, I guess, when we get there, so that's funds we're hoping to recoup through FEMA.
So that'd be the only
For that, and
discrepancy.
insurance might still pay for some of that, then it would be deductibles, or if they charge us another deductible for that, yeah.
So we'd be made whole except for maybe our deductible and the $2,500.
And we're still hoping to get that back, yes, that deductible, but otherwise, yes.
And a new floor. Okay, Lindsay, do you have anything from State School Board Convention that you wanted to bring up? Or you are listed?
Nothing too exciting. I attempted to get an answer on election stuff and didn't, but Mr. Curry has since gotten an answer that we should be able to proceed with things as normal in June. From School Boards Association's attorney, we probably had to pay for that, but we needed that answer. So the Secretary of State's office was there speaking and was not willing to give me an answer at all. So they directed me to the Association of Counties, who I've tried calling multiple times and not gotten in touch with them. So otherwise, went through kind of some stuff that didn't apply to us with ND PERS and whatever. Otherwise, SUI presented in the afternoon, and they are completely reworking their whole system in the next 3 to 5 years and incorporating a lot of AI things, which one of those things is in the proposal that I included. So we'll talk about some of that later.
Okay. And I did get to go to School Board Convention. I just went on Friday. There was nothing really to vote on delegate-wise. They had done all their elections the prior day with a unanimous ballot. They did a couple constitution things, but nothing was real crazy or anything like that. Information, I took 3 classes that went over this. Amy DeCook, who's the North Dakota School Board Association Executive Director, wrote this School Board President's Handbook, which, yeah, it's kind of aimed at the president, but it'd be helpful for everybody, so I will try to remember to scan that in and share that with everybody. But the first one was roles and responsibilities of the board president. They pushed pretty hard on rooted in your policy. Policy is very important for the school board. Hammered really hard on you are one of 7. Nobody has the authority to do anything without the other people. The public comment stuff, which I've already went back to Curry and making sure that is a policy. A lot of school districts hadn't even covered the policy on the public comment yet, so we're ahead. Good job. Use your organizational structure. They really hammered on roles in the organizational structure, so we'll make sure everybody still has that handy. And then just making sure we all understand that we are one voice all together. And so it was good to hear it, and for other school board members to see other school boards and how they did it. They went through different things. Piley Pro and Robert's Rules of Order are not required, so you can take an exhale on the motions kind of stuff, but we are going to try to use it as our general structure. They recommend that you have a structure, but we won't get too fancy, so I just thought you guys would like to know that. And then when we got into the Southeast District part, they talked about, last year there was a bill at the legislative trying to talk about teacher versus non-teacher contract and things like that. And the only it failed, but they just said that we should all look at our job descriptions, making sure that job descriptions are defined and things like that. So that was kind of in there, and that might be important as we go through this financial thing. And I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of questions on, you know, Mrs. Brandon's gone or so forth, so. And that is probably the most of the gist. The last thing was North Dakota for Public Schools has a big grassroots group going, and you've maybe seen the signs, yard signs and things like that. So they have some resources if you want to search for that group and kind of figure that out. Just wanted to say it is something that they're advocating for us. So that covers most of what I had related to that. So. Anything else? Okay. Then next one I have is secondary principal.
All right, so lots of different activities going on right now that I include in my report. Conferences are coming up. The quarter ended last Wednesday. We're in the process of finalizing and storing grades for that. One thing that wasn't in my report is we picked our students of the quarter for quarter 1. Olivia and Brayden B are our students of the quarter for quarter 1, so those were announced today. One big thing that we're looking at in the high school is implementing citizenship grading. I included in the packet what the areas look like, and we'll be getting that off the ground before conferences. So.
Any questions for Mr. Locken on his report or anything he discussed?
What do you do with the citizenship grading? That's just sort of information for the families to see how their kids are behaving, basically?
Kind of for the families, and also when it comes to conference time, it's a good talking point. So, especially because you can see, you know, if a kid is being very respectful in a couple classrooms, but very disrespectful in a few other classrooms. It's a conversation of what's the difference between the two rooms.
Do those become part of your transcript?
They don't.
Good questions. Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Lockton. Elementary principal, I note that was in the board packet, it said that Mrs. Bussey acknowledged she had TLA this evening, so if you have any comments on, anybody have any questions or comments that needs to go back to her from the report? Seeing nothing. Technology, Ms. Bitts.
All right, in my report, I talked about the two teams in grades 6 through 8 that were competing in the middle school cyber badness tournament today. They did a virtual play-in round. Toby from the high school has been really instrumental. He was a high school student that was did the high school competition last year, so I kind of gave him some roles to lead as a coach. He technically can't be the coach registered with them, but he did a great job in bringing kids in and prepping them. And I mean, he went home the night before. He talked to them and built his own custom website to have them complete challenges and keep score, and just came back like 12 hours later like, oh, no, I just built this, and yeah. So I think it just gives him, it empowers him as a high school student to lead those kids, and the kids are really enjoying seeing that from him. So anyway, our two teams, he got to pick who was on each team and where to put them and all of that, and we did have one team that got 10th place. They take the top 10. There were 37 total teams that competed today across the state. So being the top 10 out of 37 is a pretty big deal. So they'll go on to compete in person in Minot on November 19th, I believe. And as Mr. Curry said, we had our first Infinite Campus meeting today. That's the student information system that the state is requiring schools to implement, replacing PowerSchool. So it's going to be a journey, let's just say that. It'll be an interesting journey. There's gonna be lots of meetings and lots of work ahead of us. We are scheduled to go live in July with that, so. And then
Do you
we
think that's
started,
attainable?
what was that?
Do you think that's attainable?
For a whole state? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna have any real super comments on that right now. Our monthly testing of our safe alerts in the classroom has started. Ms. Barnes and I go around randomly and have teachers perform safe alerts. It just ensures us, A, that our system is working properly, and B, that kids and teachers know procedures, and they do really, really well. So that's going well. And then we're just gonna be getting ready in the next couple of weeks for any weather types of things that we have. We use Google Meets should we need to go do any virtual types of meetings at all. So that'll be coming down the pipe for teachers here very soon, unfortunately. So that's it. Any questions?
Seeing nothing, thank you, Mrs. Bitts. Athletic Director, Mr. Schaefer.
Okay, I have a few more things in my report that I sent out. Football team lost to Northern Cass, and their season came to an end with that loss. Coach Smith had a player meeting in Valley City this week, Monday here, and that was at 3:30 p.m. Talked to some of those players and upcoming 8th graders as well. Last volleyball regular match is tomorrow in Gackle, and then their postseason starts. That District 1 bracket is officially posted. We have a play-in match this coming Monday. That's going to start at 7 p.m. I have everything set up to go for that, the officials and game workers, so that's ready to go. We also have an elementary boys basketball game scheduled that day, so I move that ahead to 3:30. And then we'll try to get that finished by 5:30 so I can kick everybody out and then start selling tickets and getting the gym ready for that play-in match. The volleyball district tournament will start Thursday, October 30th, and that continues Friday, October 31st and November 3rd. If we win that playing game on Monday, that'll put us at the 8th seed in that tournament. We'll play at 3 o'clock versus Weimar Lidgewood, and that's in Foreman. That tournament's in Foreman this year. So if we are playing in that tournament, it is required that there is an administrator there each night that we play. So if we do go, I plan on going that first night, Ms. Curry volunteered to go that second night, and I'll go back on Monday then if we are playing on Monday. We had our volleyball coaches meeting today down in Wyndmere. One thing that I need to make note for next year's scheduling is that they want to schedule the district games. If you have a C squad team starting at 4:45, if you do not have a C squad team, they want to start times at 5:30. We can change this if we need to change this, but they want to try to keep things consistent in the district and also with the other district as well.
So just that's up half an hour then, or up 45 minutes from where it normally is now?
Well, if we don't have a C squad, typically, it's been kind of hodgepodge this year. I mean, we've had start times at 5:30, we've had start times at 6 o'clock.
Okay, so it's
So they
somewhere
want
in
it
that
more
realm.
consistent across the board.
Got it.
With those start times. Winter sports are gonna be starting soon here. Junior high girls will be starting us off on November 4th. And then with the girls basketball, I'm gonna give it one more week to decide on what we're gonna do with the JV girls basketball coaching position. So I'll have something decided for what we're gonna do there by the end of next week. And that's all I got.
Any questions for Mr. Schaefer on the report that is in the packet or what he talked about?
Do you have applicants for the girls' basketball position?
I had one, but
One for JV.
that's probably gonna be a no hire. I'm not gonna recommend hiring of that applicant.
Anything else for Mr. Schaefer? Okay, seeing none, we're moving on to board committee reports, extracurricular. Cody, did you want to hit the highlights there as you're the chair of that committee?
Basically what the minutes said, we talked about esports. North Dakota wants to start a pilot program with that. The vacant coaching positions yet, and then just about communication within sports, Valley City. Broad conversation, I guess, so. Any questions?
And with that, I did email Rob Hunt, AD over at Valley City about that football meeting that happened this Monday, and he responded back that Coach Smith it was a spontaneous type of thing, he put it out there, and they'll do a better job of communicating that with us in the future. And one thing that they do, and you guys, we talked about this at the extracurricular meeting as well, is that they use Spawn for their communications over there. And Rob mentioned something to me about maybe setting us up with that as well for communication during the football season for next year, so.
The kids are using Spawn for football.
For us though.
Oh, for you guys, for the
As a-
administrative to be on
As
there.
an administrator, that
Yep.
would've been nice to know so that I could get that information out to parents, our staff, our
Yep,
principals.
yep.
So that they know that these kids are gonna be gone that day for a meeting.
Spawned,
that they
SPOND.
leave. Cause they left at, 2:30 that day, 2:45 that day?
2:45, yeah.
Yep.
So they're leaving
Right.
school time, so
Right.
we need to know that information so
Correct.
that we can get those kids.
Yeah, it shouldn't be on the parent or the kid to tell our
Correct.
school what's going on,
Right.
and I think that's been the general conversation in that communication topic.
I'll try to do a better job of communicating that way with that, so.
And we did talk about consistency within BCN sports too, and maybe recommendations or how we do that, and parent expectations of communication and so forth. No actions yet, but conversations had. Anything else for the extracurricular committee or the report that was presented?
What would be the plan for girls' basketball if there is no coaching applicant or no coach hired?
They can't practice unless there's a coach there. So they can't start their season unless the coach is there. So we would have to put it off until we have somebody that'll be coaching.
Where's number 6, JV on? So we'll have a week, and then you'll send out a report
I'm gonna give it
potentially
one
to
more
the
week to see if there's
extracurricular.
anybody else that's gonna be interested in the position, and then, we'll start making some decisions about it.
Okay.
Yep.
The intent of that is that they have a season, but we're,
The intent is that we want a season, yes.
Yes,
We
yes.
want these girls playing, yeah. And we
So-
want these girls playing
if that's your
at the
next question,
scheduled
Eric.
first available practice on November 18th.
Yes.
November
I just kind of
18th?
projected his next question, sorry, but.
You said November 18th.
November 18th
Is
is
the
the
first
first time we get to
practice.
practice, yeah.
Okay, that's it for committee reports. I don't think there was anybody else that met since the last time, so. We'll move on to unfinished business. On the agenda is what we had talked about last meeting and is now back on for general fund CDs maturity. Lindsay has some information, I believe.
Yep, so I sent out those updated rates that I got from Bank Forward. The 6-month rate is 3.7% and the 12-month rate was 3.5%. That does come mature tomorrow, so I need to let her know right away. Mr. Curry and I talked, I guess our thought was that 6 months would probably be appropriate, just so if we need to access those funds, we can, by the end of the, fiscal year, so.
Is there any motion
Makes sense.
related to?
So I would need a motion to reinvest the funds for whatever number of months.
Correct. Is there a motion in relation to what the board wants the CDs to happen?
I'll make a motion to reinvest the funds for 6 months.
Cody has the motion for 6 months. Is there a second on
I will
that?
second that.
Voice vote of approval.
Michelle,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Point of order, I didn't ask for discussion, I'm sorry, but did anybody have anything? Okay, good.
But we don't have to follow the rules.
I'm sorry. I'm getting better. Not always. Okay, new business. Superintendent evaluation process. I'm gonna lead a little bit on this. I did get a chance to meet with Mr. Curry today. And my opinion and my recommendation to the rest of the board is to continue with the process we've used the last couple of years, in that he will self-evaluate, fill out the 5 questions up
5.
front. Now,
First 5 the
First
first
5
time, and
areas,
second
yeah.
5 the
still
second
of the
time.
same NDSBA format that we've
Like
had
we've done.
before. You will have the opportunity then to fill in
Ours.
support for your consideration in that topic and so forth. I'm always appreciative of add explanation.
Comment.
Yes,
Yes.
use the comments,
Yeah.
either direction.
Yeah.
So that is where we were at. I think I had a note of our anticipated timeline, and of course I left that down here. Do you have that written down, Mr. Curry?
October 31st is when.
Yes.
By October 31st, which is a week from Friday, if I get it done sooner, as soon as I get it done, I will kick it out to the full board for that, so that you have the opportunity to go through and read my self-evaluation and then make any comments, but even more so suggestions, recommendations, those kind of things, and then kick it back to the board president by,
November 8th, which would be a Saturday, because that will leave me 3 days to get it
How
done.
about we just say November 7th?
You can do it
I think we
November
say
2nd.
November.
Yes. So, my recommendation to you is that we do the NDSBA 5 questions, self-evaluation of the superintendent. Super's done October 31st, back to Jen November 8th, and I will have to be compiled into the super by November 11th for the board meeting on November 12th. So,
And that will come emailed from you?
it'll come directly from me,
Correct.
yes.
and then you can send it to my school board email. So, if you guys are okay with that, we would need a motion and a second on doing that process.
I'll make a motion to follow the NDBSA evaluation that we've done in the past and with the dates that you said, and
There's a motion on the table for Michelle to use the NDSBA superintendent evaluation.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Second from Cody. Voice vote of approval.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle.
yes.
Missed the discussion again. Sorry, we did the discussion before the motion. Gosh. Okay, item B is the Software Unlimited proposal. Lindsay,
So I have now met with Software Unlimited kind of 4 times. So the first time, they had sent an email that piqued my interest about using AI to scan invoices. So I scheduled a call with them, talked with them. They told me the price, and it was just shy of $3,000 plus installation fees and whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's probably out of our comfort. So they came back to me. We would be the first school in North Dakota. They offered us a discounted rate of $1,500 a year, which was in this contract for a couple of years. This year's amount would be $1,000, and they would waive the setup fees if we committed in October. I talked with the salesperson that I've dealt with on other things before when I was out in Bismarck, and like I said earlier, they're like completely revamping, and this is kind of one of those initial phases of it. I went to like a webinar they did yesterday. It was just a 30-minute run through with a school from Iowa and kind of how they've been using it. And then today I had a demo with them. Basically, it would reduce my time spent processing invoices by 80%. Because right now, I bring up my SUI, I scan the invoice in for each invoice that comes, I click a button, I upload it, I type in a couple pieces of information, and I hit save. Which has been a huge time saver because now I don't have to file anything. I can literally trash that and it's there forever, and I can bring things up, I can email them directly to people. It has worked fantastic. Now with this option, you would be able to set up an email address called invoices@whatever and have your invoices, or I could email the invoices if they come to me directly to that email, and it would just grab them. It would put them into SUI. It would, after about 45-ish days, know enough that it would appropriately apply them to the right vendor. Mr. Curry can log in and approve them, see them, all the things. If they aren't invoices that get emailed to you, instead of scanning each one individually, you can put your whole stack in the scanner, scan them through, and it separates them out.
so would the other departments be able to, or the supervisors be able to send those to that same email as well then?
Yes. So, I mean, it's basically just a time-saving thing. I know there's a cost to it. I had some questions for them today, just because I have like invoice batches set up for recurring invoices like Cass County Electric, Otter Tail, and I was curious how that would work. And so they actually had the lady from Iowa reach out to me to tell me how she does it. And so basically you would have the screen of uploads and the screen of this, and as long as the invoices on each screen match, they will connect, whether they're already in a pre-populated batch or not. So that issue seemed to not be an issue. The other question I had was, we have a few like handwritten invoices. They are unsure about that one yet. They sent that to their engineer, and they're working on that, so.
Well, the US Postal Service can do it, so.
Right. He thought he would probably have a better answer for me on that on Friday, but, yeah, just kind of sounds like it's the tip of the iceberg of what eventually Software Unlimited is going to become with AI implementation.
So is this like a typical software though, that every little snippet is gonna be a fee in it, or do you think it's something that may be a fee now and it kind of builds in?
I think it's gonna get that way. I think it's gonna end up being just one lump sum fee eventually, because they also have something called, WebLink, I think is the right word. And lots of schools already use that, which, every single person that works here would have a username. They would be able to access all their pay stubs and everything online. That's gonna become mandatory in the next 3 to 5 years. So I think once that happens, all these things will kind of link together. So, and be one fee.
So it's coming.
Yes,
I mean,
and like the HR module that we used to pay for, we paid $400 for that. This year, they did not charge you for that. They gave you a credit of $400. Because they're basically requiring that one now to be able to do the things that need to be done, so.
Can you read it, go back and review the price point that is currently on the or in question?
Yep. So this contract is waiving the $2,500, like, setup fees. It would be $1,000 from an 11/1 to 6/30 amount. And then the next 2 years, it would be $1,500 per year. So through 6/30/2028.
And no one else in North Dakota is using this?
Right now, no. They did tell me today that they have been working with Jamestown, and Jamestown's pretty serious about probably starting too. So,
Which would be good for you to have.
You obviously feel strongly about this because you put it on, or you
I
brought
mean,
it
I
to the
don't
agenda.
want to subscribe to something that the board hasn't approved. I know our money issues, like what's, I know more than anyone probably. But like Jennifer and I talked about before the board meeting, just in conversation, I'm drowning. Like, if it would save me 80% of my time that I could get something else done, would be great.
Do you think the percentage of receipts you would have to chase around if other people had the opportunity to email them directly to you through that would
Go down?
would that,
No,
okay,
because the ones that I chase down are ones that probably would never get emailed,
Okay.
so.
just gonna ask.
Um,
Of the 80% of your time that would you save, would you use all that time trying to make this program work? Or is it-
Initially, probably, I mean, for a couple of months, probably, but
Well,
after
that's-
that,
well, yeah.
you know. I will say, when we were out in Bismarck, one thing that people were talking about, the newest thing out there is, invoice fraud. And Mr. Curry and I talked about this too, where companies will create fake invoices, or people will create fake invoices looking like a company, send it in, it gets paid. School districts have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars actually, because there's not a good invoice approval process. So, the guy from SUI was actually surprised that North Dakota auditors aren't actually asking for an invoice approval trail, because the requisition process is not the invoice approval process.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, kind of interesting too, that, and I mean, I can definitely see how that would happen, like, there's lots of things that come here that,
Especially in big.
So you said this was an AI thing, is that kind of embedded in it, that they vet the vendor then a little bit in this, or is it just on how it fills?
it's the approval process more than anything, because you could set up multiple chains of approval, like,
Okay.
I mean, Bud could be the initial approver, and Mr. Curry could be the secondary approver, or Mr. Locken, or Mrs. Bussey, or Miss Fitz, or whoever.
So the people that actually order
That
it,
actually
whatever.
order the things. Mhm. In our, I guess, in my talking with the guy, initially, I would look at just a single level approver, because that's what we're used to, I guess, and would make the most sense to start, but there's definitely,
But as we're moving into looking out for our budget, it might have to be a principal being
Right.
like, I have a teacher that wants this, they might have to be that,
well,
no,
and
you know.
this is already after the invoice has come through. So that
Okay, so
doesn't
it's already been
change,
bought.
that doesn't change the approval
Approval,
process for
purchasing.
For the
purchasing.
Okay.
requisition side.
It's just a safety net of fraud in that
Right.
regard too,
Yeah.
but.
And decrease the time you spend doing it. Yep.
Because, and when the guy initially asked me in our first meeting about how much time I thought I spent per invoice, I said 10 to 15 minutes. So,
So this is the AP side of things, on a 1 week, how many hours per week do you think you're on AP?
I mean, the amount of requisitions I write for other people is most of it.
So that would be the time that you would take it up with then, okay? Anybody need any more information? Otherwise, the item on the agenda is for a motion related to this, if you choose.
Is this gonna be, so, this is the first of its kind, basically, that's came forward.
That I'm aware of, and I mean, Software Unlimited is really only one of 2 school accounting systems, at least that I'm aware of, that any schools, at least in North Dakota, use. The other one is something called RDA, and there's only a handful of schools that use that one, to my knowledge.
So if we sign this, are we committing ourselves for 3 years, or can we walk away after the first year knowing that the other option was way better?
I mean, You're committing yourself to 3 years, yes.
Would they
And
give us a 1 year or a year by year?
probably not at this price. It would probably be the $2,995.
How long is our SUI contract for the general package right now? Is that a year to year?
I've never signed a contract for that, so I have no idea.
That's just a pay your fee and away you go thing.
Yeah.
And we've been in SUI for how many years? Forever?
What I can pull up, I think goes back to 2008 or 2009.
Okay.
So we went,
We're already kind of committed
we're
to
committed
SUI.
to them, we've been
Yeah.
using them. It's
I-
not like we're
I-
using something
I
brand new.
personally would never see switching to RDA, or there's some Tyler technology that every once in a while shows up, but I don't know of anyone that uses them. Most schools that have RDA are switching to SUI. So, because I'm pretty sure at one point Valley City had RDA, and they've switched to SUI now too.
I would foresee this being a fee-based thing where every year they got another option that costs more.
That's software in general, yeah.
Yeah, probably until they get to the point where they just tack it on the overhead to start with.
Just
and
adjust it
charge
into
you
the total,
additional
yep.
$4,000 just off the top right away.
So we have item B on the agenda of the Software Unlimited proposal. A motion?
I'll make a motion to enter in the 3-year contract for the software.
We have a motion on the table
I will second that.
and a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion and the second that's on the table?
I'll just say it, I mean, the $1,500 a year is literally
Nothing.
$29 a week. Literally.
And if it's
And
gonna
if it's
save
gonna
you
save-
time,
It's
Less than an hour of my time,
with
when
things,
you put it that way.
with what's coming, it's gonna save you time, right?
Yes.
I hope so, right? Like,
If in 3 years it didn't work, then
Then we-
I'll stand on this table and say we should have done it, and
Nah. I would hate to go that far.
Any other comments or discussion on the motion that's before us? If not, we have a voice vote of approval. Lindsay needs a way.
Michelle,
Yes,
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
DJ.
yes.
Item C on our agenda is the music teacher contract. I was supposed to be ready and I wasn't. We have a prorated contract for Haley Spurgeon in the music educator department. This contract is prorated for 149 days, starting October 1st, 2025, based on the salary schedule for the negotiated agreement. Everything on here is prorated to that day's standard. So we have music teacher contract.
Just approve a teacher contract.
Pardon?
Just approve a teacher contract.
Teacher contract, to approve the teacher contract.
I'll make a motion to approve a teacher contract.
We have a motion. Is there a second related to the teacher contract?
I'll second.
Cindy has the second. Is there any comments or discussion on the music teacher contract?
If there wasn't a contract on this initially, where was these hours budgeted?
In the sub-pay.
That was all sub-pay.
Some, on the budget, it was kind of, and we talked about this in budget too, it was kind of in all under teacher salary with the understanding that it was depending on when her contract ended up being written, those two amounts were going to not maybe be exact, but within the
We
grand
anticipate
scheme
in
of things.
total, those two line items to equal the 12 months of cost. Is what-
Plus some
So
actual.
will we
sub
amend
pay.
that budget now that this is a teacher's contract and no longer gonna be in sub-pay, so it's not?
I don't think.
I think
it
I put
fits.
it under the teacher contract part is where I think I put the majority of the money, so.
Yes. I will check for it. And when you ask me to find something,
I know,
I
that's how I
can
feel
never
too.
find it. Music, page 9. This dollar amount is already in line 110 music salary for the most part, so,
Because
Sub-
I anticipated this was coming, so.
yeah, sub salaries is actually over budget based on that the part-time, or the sub part went longer than
The
anticipated
length of a
originally.
time to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the licensure.
And because I
Yes.
put a full teacher contract under the salary amount.
right.
But she's not getting the full teacher contract because September was long-term
So
sub.
in that-
So
yeah,
that number will
kinda
come in
evens out.
under,
Yep.
Yeah.
yes.
So
Even
we
though-
will be long in the 110
On the-
salary
yeah,
line,
okay.
and we'll be over budget in the sub salary line.
Yeah.
But in total, it looks like it should come out to the right. So good question. Any other comments or discussion related to the contract or the motion that's on the table? Seeing nothing, Lindsay, you got it.
Michelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes. Okay, the last item under there is tuition waivers and open enrollments. And, who wants to go on that
I
one?
can do it
Okay,
for that. So we have a couple, the tuition waivers and the open enrollments coincide. It's the same families doing both. The tuition waiver obviously covers this year, the open enrollment would start next year and then continue forever, as long as they stay here or until they leave, for that. And, kind of as I stated, is, we need to maybe readdress how we look at these, just because, I mean, we're gonna go to our patrons probably and say, hey, we need help financially, and if we're showing them that we're trying to increase our enrollment and increase our foundation aid payments, money from the state, then I think that helps us in that process. And of course, it doesn't hurt with these, that with the one family, we're already going to the farmyard. And with the other one's a pre-K student, which we usually don't do pre-K kids because we don't get payment for them. But the school the district that they're coming from called and asked, well, do you have this for them? Like, well, they're pre-K, you don't really need to have one for them, but we'll do it, so that next year, they will be good. We won't
Right.
have to do it next year. So, I'm going to recommend approving these. We will start with the tuition agreements. The no charge tuition agreements, I have them labeled 1 and 2. So if you would just like to make one motion, if you want to approve them, just as tuition agreements 1 and 2.
and then separately,
And then we'll do the open enrollment
One
next.
or 1 and 2.
1, 2, and 3, yes,
One.
because
Oh,
each
3
kid is
students.
separate on
3
those.
students.
On one of
Oh.
these, you could put multiple kids on tuition agreements.
Okay.
So it's 3 total kids, 2 tuition waivers, 3 open enrollments,
Okay.
same families.
Does anybody need any additional information on that before we go to see if there's a motion? Are you okay? Do you have, I had to ask questions today to refresh open enrollment, what it means versus tuition waiver. Do you want the same Cliff Notes version I got?
Sure.
Open enrollment is technically a policy issue that has a specific timeline already in policy. If you do it outside of that, that's where we have to come into play for the most part. There are specific things in that policy related to reasons you can or cannot, or things like that, so if we got into that, we would wanna pull that policy out and read that more in depth. Tuition waiver is usually the dollars connected, which Mr. Curry explained to me, and I think it's been explained before. The districts in our region don't really say, okay, reach back and grab tuition from the district that would have had that kind of situation. So these children will count for the days that are in our building towards the foundation payments that will come from the state. So they will be the fraction instead of the whole year, but, so that's what I had to refresh my memory on. Do you have any further questions on that?
I have one. You said you wanted to reassess how we look at these. How do you feel we've currently been doing it?
Well, I think I've kind of created that if they haven't followed the open enrollment process, that I've declined the board to take action on these in the last year and a half, just because we wanted people to follow the process. the open enrollment, and if you really wanna make the move to BCN, follow the timeline, follow the process, get your paperwork in, and don't just call me because you're mad at the principal of the school you're at, or because you don't like a teacher or something like that.
Which I think
That's
we
kind of
Still have that.
how I've looked at it the last, I'll say year and a half, Eric, and I think I've kind of told the board on a couple of them, I recommend don't take action because that was what happened. But I think we may have to reassess some of that as we move forward here, as I stated, for enrollment purposes and
I
money
think we'd
purposes.
still appreciate that, and we
Right,
don't
yes.
want to get into the,
Yeah.
why are you moving?
And like I said, to me, these are very easy because they have ties to the district. I mean, relatives, same farmhouse, and this is a pre-K student that's already attending the school here for that. A lot of times for tuition agreements, I would also recommend approving them if, say right now, a family in the district moved out of the district into a different district, they would have to fill out a tuition agreement to do that. Since they've been here, I would recommend come on back for that. So, yeah, I mean, kind of look at instance by instance, but I think we're gonna have to be, or at least me, a little more broader and a little bit more open moving forward, I guess.
So how does the tuition waiver work with students coming to our district?
How does that work? Then they go on our enrollment. So if we approve these tonight, if I call the parents, I mean, the one's already going here, but it's pre-K, we don't get payment for that, so that one doesn't matter till next year. But the other family, if their kid, if I call them tomorrow and they bring their kid in tomorrow, we put them in our system and they start drawing attendance ADM from Barnes County North. So then that goes on our enrollment numbers at the end of the year. When you look at that enrollment sheet that we do in June or July that I give you, you'll see an odd number like a 0.7 or a point whatever it is. That's where that comes from, of kids coming in or actually going out in the school year. You get them from the first day to the last day for that. So then the payment follows.
So if somebody leaves our school to go to another one and that school district says tuition waiver, they won't come back and ask us for money to pay for educating that child.
Well, they can try, but we're gonna decline it.
But right,
We're gonna,
exactly.
we're gonna come to a board meeting
And they come in.
and they're gonna say, well, they want us to pay. Well, I'm obviously gonna recommend to this board, no, we're gonna decline that agreement
Okay,
for it. So then the parent makes the choice after that, or the school district,
got it,
either charge the parent or don't charge anybody.
okay.
Yeah,
So would the school that this is coming from be able to decline this one?
no, because it's a no charge agreement. We're not asking them to
To do
pay.
anything.
We're not asking.
We're waiving it.
Jamestown to pay the tuition for these
No,
kids.
we're waiving it.
We're not asking the parents to pay the tuition. We're just saying, sure, come on over, and the payment is the state funds. Because they're out of district, we're not getting property taxes for that child either. So we're taking the amount to 6,000, I guess, but not even that because it's part of the year. But whatever amount of money is what we're taking from out-of-district kids for that. You know, that chunk of the 11,300, whatever odd
Yeah.
dollars it is, yeah.
So we wouldn't be asking from the start of the year to the current time they start? We would be getting the percentage of,
We'd be getting percentage of their
when they
first day in
start with us.
attendance
Yep.
at
and that- the
BCN.
other school can't deny that,
No,
but we could ask them for the whole year's worth?
no, we could not ask them for the whole year's work.
Basically, we're getting prorated from the state.
Absolutely, yes, we're getting prorated.
So
the state.
what is it that we could ask the other school for that they could deny?
You could ask the school to pay for their tuition moving forward for the rest of this year, or you could ask the parent to pay their tuition. You wanna come to BCN,
You gotta pay. Yeah.
pay the tuition amount for them to come here, for that, and
That would be in lieu of the state paying for it or in addition to it?
in addition.
I think what
Well-
I'm hearing is we need some more information so we understand the process, not specific to the ones that are on the table, but maybe you guys, the same as I did, have lots of questions and we could get something in writing so we can learn that better?
Yes,
On
yeah,
the way it works, does that work for everybody? Rather than,
and that's kind of the process is, I can put that in writing, but in nowhere in writing are you gonna see that the schools around here, the schools I've been in other districts, all kind of have a gentleman's agreement that if a family so chooses to go to your district or come to my district, that whether we like it or not, that is the family's choice, I guess, within this process to do that. So I guess you wish them well and say, I hope it goes well for you in that district without making us think about it.
I guess I just wanted to verify, so prorated from the time they start on, the state funding for that child will
Comes to
come
us.
to this school.
Yeah.
Correct,
So we're
so,
not, our district families aren't basically paying, or
No.
taxpayer
So-
dollars aren't paying for out-of-district kids to
No.
come here at no
say they
charge.
were a 70% kid. So you take 70% of 11,000, blah, 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 X amount of money for that, even though we truly don't get that amount from the state. We only get approximately 6,000, so take 70% of that 6,000, to educate this child, for it. And that's the thing about it is if you get someone that comes with additional services, I mean, sometimes the school district, it could cost you more money than you're getting from the state or from any place, for it.
any other questions? Good questions. Okay, so we have on the table, looking for a motion related to the tuition waivers,
Number 1 and 2.
or 2, or 1 and 2.
I'll make a motion for tuition waivers 1 and 2.
We have a motion, is there a second related?
I will second that.
Any further discussion of the tuition waivers 1 and 2? Discussion? Lindsay?
Eric,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes. We now have open enrollment 1, open enrollment 2, and open enrollment 3.
Yes, because they're all done individually for each child.
Yep.
Yes.
Can we do it all 3 in one
Yes.
motion?
You just have to state that.
Okay, I will make a motion to accept the open enrollments for 1, 2, and 3.
We have a motion, is there a second related to the open enrollment?
I'll second.
Cody has the second, any further discussion related to open enrollment 1, 2, and 3?
So the open enrollment kicks in to start next year. The
Right.
tuition waiver
Yep.
agreement covers this year. After that, the open enrollment, and then, like I said, as long as they stay here, that open enrollment covers
Covers it.
that.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Curry, I do have a document on enrollment and transfer scenarios that I'll send to you that you can pass on that Power School team sent out.
Oh, yeah.
And it explains everything, like the codes in Power School, what open enrolled is, what tuition waiver is, what tuition parent is, tuition district,
Perfect,
Okay.
all of those
Thank you.
scenarios, just because
Yep.
that's how our SIS reports, so I'll just.
excellent,
Thank you.
thank
Yep.
you. So we have a motion and a second, we're looking for a voice vote on the open enrollments 1, 2, and 3.
Sorry. Eric,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Michelle.
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Okay, we are on to the miscellaneous sector here. We have Cheyenne Valley Career and Tech. Mr. DJ, what do you know?
Not a lot else or extra to report from last time. Still trying to finish up furnishing some of the addition places, I guess. The welding,
Bays.
yeah, is one of the bigger ones, I guess. Still have the lake cabin for sale, if anybody needs one. And, they started working on the house and the construction
Did they get a
Yeah, so-
realtor for the cabin?
That's what they're.
They were working on it?
They're working on that,
So
yes.
it's not been done yet?
No, because they're still gonna, the cabin did not have flooring in it yet, so
Okay.
that's what they're
Okay,
in the process of doing, and once the flooring is finished, then it will be.
but there's no realtor yet.
They're talking to a realtor, but it's not listed
Listed
yet,
yet.
because it's not to the point where they think it's ready to be
Right,
listed.
okay.
Any questions for DJ for the career and tech? I don't see anything, so good to go. Thank you, DJ. Mr. Curry, do you have anything on Cheyenne Valley Special
I
Ed?
don't, I was not in attendance at the last meeting, so whatever was sent out to you in those highlights,
Yep.
you know as much as I do.
Perfect.
Okay. Anybody have any questions related to what was forwarded in the packet? I don't see anything either. Okay, then we are adjourned for tonight. Our next meeting is scheduled to be November 12th. And remember your schedule for the superintendent evaluation, so I don't have to bug you.
November 7th, I'm going to Sunday.